Okay, so we've prepared for the home loan, we know which loan product we want, we've saved the deposit and the funds to complete that we need, and now we're actually ready to go and buy a house. So this section is all about buying. So how do we go through this process? What's the difference between these different types of things and the kinds of things we need to keep in mind when we're putting in an offer, and the process right through to settlement and beyond. So the first thing is about the expression of interest versus the contract of sale. So that's what these two things mean. They were in the quiz earlier, so hopefully you're all over what they are. But the expression of interest form is essentially you expressing interest to a real estate agent about a property that you like. It's not legally binding, and you can put in multiple expression of interest forms like this one that's in your in the course. This is just an example, but you can put in multiple ones at the same time, because you never know if you're actually going to be too late or successful or not or whatever. So yeah, if you're interested in 3 properties and you want to put an expression in on 3, that's fine, you can go for that. It's really important though that if you are successful and you sign a contract, which is the legally binding document to buy that property, that you only sign one at a time, because that is, as I said, that's legal. So this one is just expressing interest. But before we actually buy the property, we want to tell the agent that we're interested in it and what we're willing to pay for it and the conditions that we're willing to put forward, so that they can assess our offer alongside maybe some other offers that they get. Now, the real estate agent will take this expression of interest, along with any others, to the seller, who also is called the vendor, and they'll sit down and they'll discuss the pros and cons of each offer. Now, it's important to note that obviously the purchase price is the most important thing, because it's, well, how much are you going to pay for this house? But the conditions that you put alongside the purchase price can often mean that your offer is more favourable than somebody offering more than you, which is actually something that can be quite surprising. So for example, if the person you're buying the house from, the vendor, is committed to moving out by a certain time or not moving out before a certain time, if you're flexible when you want settlement, which is one of the items on the expression of interest form, your preferred settlement date, if you can say that you're flexible because maybe you're not in a hurry, if you aren't, obviously, like if you've got a lease ending, you can't say that, but if you're just living at home with parents and you can move out whenever you like and you're flexible, that vendor may be more likely to accept your offer, even if it is a little bit lower from a purchase price point of view than another offer that maybe their offer is subject to the sale of their property, which is something that the vendor doesn't want. So just keep in mind that all of these things are actually important on the form, and wherever you can be flexible to the vendor's needs, your offer will likely be more favourable. So expression of interest, there's a few things to keep in mind on here. So when you're filling it out, it'll require your details, either just yourself or yourself and the person you're buying with. Make sure you fill this out exactly as it is on your ID, because they will use this information to fill in the contract of sale, and the contract of sale has to match your ID documents and the loan, which we also use your ID documents. So this is important, and it's a good place for me to just pause and say, if your ID documents don't match, it's a good time to get them in line. And I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes people don't have a middle name on one document but they do on another, or they haven't updated their name for any reason, or the birth certificate's different, things like that. If you need to do that and you know you do, get on it now, because it makes it so much easier. So legal names. Your conveyancer, they'll often ask if you have a property lawyer already. So the conveyancer handles your transaction. They will make sure that once you purchase the property, we'll put the contract on, that it goes through online through the software. The project management software and everything is done according to the law, and the right people get paid. They handle it all for you. So if you don't have a conveyancer, you can go and find one. You don't have to fill one in on this form, but they will put it on the contract if you do. The offer details obviously are important, like purchase price, which we've talked about. My recommendation around purchase price is not to lowball too much. It just doesn't put anyone in a good frame of mind. If you think you're going to get it for a bargain, definitely go lower. Or if you don't think it's worth what they're expecting you to offer, don't put that in. Just put in what you think it's worth with a little bit of room to negotiate. That way you're pretty close to your end offer, but you can go up a little bit, and it does come across to the real estate agent that you are trying to move forward a little bit. So close but not right on your highest offer. The initial deposit is the deposit that you'll sign if you're successful and your offer is accepted. And now when you get a contract of sale, you'll have to pay the initial deposit around the time that you sign that. So that's usually a small amount, like $1,000 or something like that, but it's up to you what you want to pay. That gets refunded if you don't go through with the purchase. Now there are multiple reasons why that might happen, but it's good to not put a big amount in up front because then it's in their bank account, not yours. So this is the real estate agent's bank account. The balance of deposit is usually a bigger amount, and that only gets paid if you're actually going to go forward. It's usually paid on what's called unconditional, when your finance is approved and you're actually going to go forward and you're going to buy this property. So that's that one. They'll ask you about finance. Is your offer subject to finance? We've talked about that in the last video. If you can tick that box, that will make me happy because it makes sure we've got that buffer for risk in case for any reason, that even if you have a pre-approval, the bank doesn't accept your security. And then is your offer subject to building and pest? That's up to you. Again, I recommend it because it covers you for risk, and we can talk about that when we catch up. But having a building and pest inspector come out and have a look at the property to make sure it's structurally sound and it doesn't have termites is often a good investment. Any special conditions, and then your preferred settlement date, which we've talked about. So this form is an activity that you can download and have a practice filling it in. It's just so you get comfortable, so when you actually get one, you know what you're doing and filling that in. So yeah, that's those details there. So the contract of sale is the legally binding document that you will sign when your offer is accepted. So it's important that you get the conveyancer to have a look at that before you sign it, because there could be anything in there and it could be exposing you and you're not sure. So once you get the great news that your expression of interest has been accepted, they send you a contract to sign, then you can flick that onto your conveyancer. They can have a read of it, tell you if there's anything in there that needs to be amended, or if any special conditions they want added around due diligence or something like that. Then get the real estate agent to update the contract, and then you can sign it after that.